Oh, I should be live if I haven't been. That may be an issue. Okay, good. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 62. Here we go. We're really excited to be here today. And gosh. It's that time of the week again, man.
Dude, it's that time of the year. I mean, we're heading into NFT NYC. I
Wow.
think everybody's excited. Everybody's looking forward to all these updates. I mean, I'm seeing so much of the community kind of gathering together and trying to figure stuff out. Us putting this together, I feel like is always a mishmash because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I noticed that we've got a few themes today, so I'm excited to actually get into it and talk about I don't know, just some of the cool stuff that's going on in the space right now.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'm way excited to talk about it too, and that is what we will do. Let's quickly get the disclaimer out of the way here. And boom.
This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. You shouldn't construe any such information or material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. We have no responsibility for your decisions, are not game devs, and our opinion could be flawed. Axie hard.
Excellent. Axie hard. Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting, this NYC NFT. Are you going to make it?
I'm not. I'm in the middle of a move, and it is chaos with two little kids. Unfortunately, I'm gonna miss it, but I'm. If somebody wants to walk around with a GoPro strapped to their head, I'm all about watching.
Excellent. Oh man, it looks like maybe you're frozen up. Let me see what's going on. Oh no, you're good. Good. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for NFT NYC. It'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. And hey, everybody, welcome to the public stream. We're excited to be here tonight. Lots of stuff going on. Man. Wobble. the chat's on fire tonight. So, hey, just a reminder, we have some merch. We actually have a challenge going, but I don't know if we've actually announced that over the Twitter or not.
I have not announced it. Listen, so we're going to actually get this up. Challenge is active. I need to actually announce it, though. So what was it? Best was it 2 pictures?
Yeah.
Wearing Axie Chat merch,
Yep.
and let's extend it out maybe to early December, second week in December.
I like it.
A little bit before Christmas. All right, give people time.
Good. Absolutely. Yeah, let's see some great pictures, maybe in unique places or doing unique things.
and we were going to do what? I think each of us was going to donate 5 Axis.
That's right. 5 Axis to each of the 2 winners. Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty amazing what that prize is actually worth. Thinking about how it used to be compared to where we are now with Axis, it's just absolutely incredible. So, all right. Hey, so I put this slide together. This is the one that we had when Dex on, and I'm just kind of wondering when next. Like, when is the next thing? Because they talked about having the new version of the Battles game out, and that seems to have gotten delayed, and we haven't heard a lot about it. I was expecting that to be days rather than, now it's been a little bit. It's getting closer to a week since that happened.
Yeah, I mean, so early in the month, Jiho mentioned that this is going to be a month of launches, and we haven't seen a whole bunch of that yet. And so I'm wondering, we had the kind of delayed, what was it, version 1.0001, or it was some Battles V1 extended release that got pushed back a few times. I think they're on their 3rd try now, for whatever reasons, just production issues as they pushed it live. I'm wondering how much of the the potential releases that they had are being held up by that next version coming out.
Yeah, totally.
We know season 19 is being pushed back, so hopefully in the next week or so that's going to come out. And you know what, we're up against this NFT NYC thing, which some people are speculating that maybe they're saving some leaks for then too, or some launches for then.
So, yeah. We'll talk more about that for sure. That's an interesting thought, an interesting idea. Also, we're getting close to the end of this month too. And last month, right at the end of the month, that happened to be right at the end of the quarter, that's when we got staking to happen. So I'm wondering if they're targeting some things for maybe the end of this month too. I don't know. So this week, amazingly, even though it feels like there's been a lot going on, this was pretty much the only team news directly related to Axie Infinity, the game itself and the Discord and so forth. And they rolled out phase 2 of the collab land for the main Axie Infinity Discord. What's so incredible about this, and I'm a big, huge fan of it, it feels like the Axie Infinity Discord has improved massively as a result of this collab land integration. There's only 800,000 spots, period, available in the Discord, in the main Discord. And so,
Yep.
with that limitation, we really need to have, as it says here, the vast majority need to be people who have vested assets, who actually have ownership of Axie digital assets. And to me, that makes a ton of sense. It definitely makes it a little bit more intriguing when it comes to some of these channels, particularly land, since you have to own a plot of land to talk. I think you can see the channel, but to actually chat in that channel, in the land channel, you have to have a land spot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, we've talked a lot about how much of the player base is made up of actual Axie owners versus scholars. And one of the questions that's kind of coming up to me is if so much of our player base has been estimated 90 to 95% is people that are renting these Axies through scholarships. Where are they going to get their source of information if they can't kind of participate in the community? So I'm wondering if, I know a lot of scholarships have their own Discords. They've got kind of their own, news dispersal. But having some of those people outside of the ecosystem, because those have also been the people who are most vocal about, SLP changes and, the decline in price and stuff like that. So pulling them out of I don't know, more engaged community, I don't know if it's the right choice overall, or if it makes sense to have maybe another side, Axie Infinity Scholars server that's kind of the official server to disseminate that information as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens with a potential fragmentation of the user base as we move forward. But I think it's cool too, because there has been a lot of disinformation by people who haven't done the research, who don't really care to do the research, and are just kind of spreading FUD because they're only interested in that one part, that play to earn piece of it, which obviously is an important thing. But yeah, it'll certainly be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, it's really hard to. I haven't been able to figure out a really good method for evaluating how many people actually own Axie digital assets versus those that are daily active users. And, I've heard this 90-95% thrown out there, which is an interesting figure. If 10% of the total daily active users actually own the digital assets, well, then we're actually down to around 200 and maybe 30,000 participants in the actual ecosystem, as far as not just those that are selling SLP to those that want to
Right.
purchase it. And, that
Which
makes,
is
yeah.
which is still substantial in the
Oh, yeah.
overall NFT space. If you're looking at a just comparison of the top projects and how many people are actually like economically involved, even then, Axie still has a large share of that that overall ownership. I'm thinking now too, like, I've often compared Axies to tools or to, the cars that get people to work.
Yeah.
There is public transportation. There are people who don't own a car and still need to get to work, and take a bus or a train or whatever, and they're still contributing to the economy. I guess my question I think this whole model is still beneficial. When we start hitting the app store, a lot of people aren't going to necessarily want to or be accustomed to spending a bunch of money in order to play a game. So most of those people will automatically go towards that scholar based model. It's again, it's just, to me, like, we need to ensure that us as a community, if the team isn't going to do some sort of side program, we need to make sure that we're spreading the right information to those people who are kind of outside that initial circle, especially if this main Discord caps out at 800,000 people. We're already way over that.
Yeah, and in the roadmap, and well, not the roadmap, I guess in the white paper, it talks about one of the main things that Axie wants to accomplish with its game is to have a social aspect to it. So to have some sort of social communication portion of the game, which I'm thinking in a land game is probably pretty necessary. I think of the various different land games that exist out there. The easiest one, obviously, that comes to my mind is Clash of Clans, but there's other ones. But part of the integration there is that you have to be able to communicate with people that are in your clan or people that are, your friends and so forth. So I'm totally expecting that there's going to be some method of communication, and that actually makes the Discord space even more scarce and pretty important to try to snag your piece of the Discord if you can. It's very, very interesting. Um, Thinking about if it's, and I don't know if it's 5, 10, 20%. It's hard to know for sure the percentage of people who actually own some of these Axie digital assets. You know, that is a very strong argument that it's still very, very early, man. If we're going to have huge daily active users growth, those that actually own these assets are the ones that are likely to really do well as far as
Right.
returns from those assets. And so, until we see a million people actually owning Axies, I think we're still relatively early in this space, and that's pretty cool, pretty dang cool.
It's actually really interesting now that we're talking about it. We've talked a lot in the past about how there's only so many Mystic Axies, 1,300 and change, and you better act quick because there's not going to be enough for everybody. This was back in the early days, and then we were talking about land, right? You better act quick because there's only 73,000 and change or whatever it ends
69.
up being.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
So there's not enough for everybody, and now we're talking about, hey, the first 800,000 Axie owners, like actual owners, have a space in the Discord. Like we've never actually like thought about the possibility that we could run out of room in the Discord for actual Axie owners. Like it really turns it into a ticket to the community, in a sense.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about all the different methods that may play into effect, but Discord never really was one of them.
Absolutely. And again, the concept here, it's very, very clear. These changes will ensure true Axie owners represent the community. And I think that, it makes a lot of sense to head this direction. It's awesome, man. I'm excited. Man, programmatically being involved, programmatically has just done a banger job. It's just so cool. Getting into the support and just knocking it out of the park. So nice job, program. We're rooting for you. We're really proud of you. You need to get an easier name to say, but that's okay. We'll double
next
P.
next time next NF oh my god, I can't even say it. NFT NYC. We're having a drinking game where baronar needs to say programmatically pulled 3 times in a row.
Programmatically pulled. Awesome. All right. Hey,
There
well,
it
I
is,
guess
first
let's.
shot.
There was one other thing I wanted to say about the percentage and of people that it is, it is relatively early when you think of it in those terms. But one of the cool things I thought was, if you've got these people who are more used to paying $6.99 to buy some Clash of Clans gold and what is it? I can't remember what the blue ones are, energy or mana or whatever it is. Maybe even Axies could be fractionalized to the point where someone agrees to set it aside and a person could buy it and get 10% of their possible returns by buying 10% of the Axies team. And, things like that with the fractionalized ownership could be possible. That way people could get involved and kind of dip their toes and see the benefits. And, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how all that comes out. So, man, the thing that seems to be happening right now are all these meetups. Axie Infinity just announced that they're going to have on Thanksgiving Day for the United States and I think Canada. I'm not sure. Our Canucks can tell us if that's right or not. They're going to have an Axie meetup in London. Man, I'm jealous about this one. Alex will be there. at Bounce, which I don't know. I don't know anything about Bounce, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to allow Indus in. So, I mean, that's
That's a special
Vistrosity.
benefit.
Vanillim and Vistrosity will probably show up at that point. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure Indus will be there. Well, I'd hope he would. It's pretty cool opportunity to have Psych Out talk to people, it sounds like, and super cool. I know that Europe's been asking for something. We've seen the one that happened in NYC. We've seen the one that happened in LA. Now they've got one slated for London. Fantastic. There was a Lisbon one that's actually on this slide as well. Super awesome. Ziori went over to Lisbon, Portugal. There was a conference over there and just had tons of awesome Axie players show up and visit with Ziori over in Portugal as well.
Is our digital nation finally becoming physical?
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. It's
The
spreading
last
out.
month or so, it's just been a lot of events, a lot of meetups.
So cool. Yeah. Cool. Oh, it sounds like Canadian Thanksgiving already happened. They're always on top of things. All right. Axie TikTok. I'm not sure what I think about this, man. I've never loaded up TikTok. I clicked on something, and I'm really proud of Jeff for being willing to put it all out there. Did you see that one? I should have.
I did not see it. I think anytime you're in the growth space or marketing space, you need to take advantage of up and coming channels.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
some people are very opposed to TikTok because of its supposed Chinese roots. I don't think that's necessarily true anymore, but it is definitely becoming the social channel to watch, and I think us having a presence there is very important. There is already quite a crypto kind of presence on there. There's already a gaming presence, so somebody kind of split in the middle and representing Axie. Not to mention, there's already been a lot of misinformation about like crypto gaming in general. So it's very good that he's doing it, and I honestly think more of our our Twitch stars or whatever should start getting involved over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff's stance that was quite the thing. I really should have grabbed the video so that we could have played it. It was quite the thing. Yeah, and had a sheet of paper apparently that had some words on it. I know I saw Project X and Dex on it. But there's been a few people.
He's been hyping that a lot lately, huh?
Golly.
I feel like every day there's a few mentions on Twitter from Jiho or the official account mentioning, like, I don't know, something about Dex.
Yeah, I keep waiting for him to put himself into Twitter jail again. Then we'll know something's coming for sure, and he'll be bugging people like, "Hey, we've got to release that because I got to be able to tweet." So
right.
Yeah. So lots of community stuff happening. Mentioned the LA, so this slide has some more stuff on it. The LA meetup, that was Jiho, Bryce, and Ziori, and tons of community members. We kind of highlighted that last week, so I don't want to go into it in too much more detail, but that was awesome. But a couple of these things happening in the Philippines is pretty incredible. So again, lots of places accepting SLP and Access for payment, and it's just absolutely cool. The one here on the left, this is actually somebody running for vice mayorship and using Axie Infinity, specifically politicking to the scholars in the Philippines. That's pretty incredible, man. Who knew that being part of Axie Infinity would end up being part of political campaigns?
I mean, it makes sense in a way, right? Like, there's just so much money flowing in. It's there's both the extra income or the primary income that actual like citizens are making, but it's almost like an import. Or like an exported labor, which you'd think that governments would get behind, right?
Yeah.
They always seem to want to make money off of other countries or bring in money from other places as much as possible. And so for governments to not get behind this or not try and find a way to like push this, like I understand it's new, I understand it's probably scary for a lot of things, I understand, crypto, a lot of people still feel like it's a scam or something like that. So there may be some concerns about like putting too much weight behind something that might not be long lasting. But in the long run, as we become more of a global community, I think we'll see more of this stuff, like people getting behind DeFi, right? Like it does not make sense that the US is kind of fighting DeFi right now. There's so much potential behind the technology. But for these, mayors or politicians or whoever to start backing this stuff, I think the people will start getting behind them, and it's a good play, even if it's just a political move.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's just awesome to see this happening. Just as you said before, the digital nation, it's evolving, it's growing, it's we still have some steps to really make that come to be with the DAO and the various transitions that are going to have to take place over time. But it's really cool to see the aspects of our digital nation becoming part of reality, part of real world politics, part of real world economics, and really, really awesome to see that. Some great community stuff, more community stuff. Did you see this Halloween costume of
Dude, it's
Kataro?
amazing.
It's
It's amazing.
unbelievable.
How do you make that?
I can't even imagine how much time or how did they make that? Like that was
It seems
absolutely
like it's
phenomenal.
I mean, it seems like it's like a, I don't know, molded
Professional,
plastic. Like
yeah.
it's right. It's completely legit. Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't been paying attention to this, Jiho's Halloween costume, just in general, like the we had we had one last week that still has me laughing when I'm thinking about it. But the amount of creativity going into these things and the amount of like actual craftsmanship is really incredible. And again, for those of you listening, like we're looking at one, it's Kataro. It looks like it's like a legitimate like plastic mold that somebody did, but it's the size of a kid. And she can crouch down into it and pop up and then actually take the katanas out of his forehead. So it's
It's
just so cool
amazing.
what people are doing. Yeah.
It's just absolutely unbelievable. And hey, everybody, welcome. So good to have everybody here on Axie Chat tonight. And yeah, this one, I wish that would be in production. I know that it's a niche market, right? There's not going to be a ton of people yet that want that costume, but it's just absolutely unbelievable to me. The production value. One thing I love about the community members, and we're trying hard to always be thinking about our production value and increasing our production value. We're still amateurs, and that's okay. But it's really cool to see these artists, people making these costumes. Some of them are kind of, we saw a couple of them that were kind of funky last week with body paint and carrots in various places. But yeah, this Katara one just shows when people put their minds to it, just how incredible the content, the community creators can be. And wow, man, I'm having just absolutely massive deja vu. So cool. Yeah.
Speaking of niche content, did you see the ad that they put for like a new? It was a new job. I think the title
Yeah.
was senior multimedia designer, but the
Marketing.
goal
Yeah.
was actually to create like branding and like actual merchandise, like T-shirts and stickers and figurines and stuff like that. And it really makes you wonder. Again, our goal in Axie Chat is to both kind of keep the community in the loop, but also to speculate on what's going to happen next. And if they're looking towards bringing in people to work on merchandise, it makes you wonder, like, whether or not they're, is 2 million, 2.5 million players, many of those in lower income countries, is that enough to sustain like a full on merchandise, unit within Sky Mavis? Or are they kind of looking ahead to the future where they've got a whole lot more users?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something I've been thinking about.
Well, and also, in order for some people to really partake in that, it's going to require a DEX where people can freely transfer tokens from one thing to another. Because I don't know, I mean, it's neat to see some of these places taking SLP. Do you think the team will take SLP? I guess they would, because then they could just DEX it over to a different token. Maybe they start amassing SLP, but I don't know. Do you think the community treasury at some point starts adding SLP to the treasury pool?
Well, and that's a good question too. Is do the sales of Axie assets, does that go to Sky Mavis, or does that go to, Axis holders? Does that go to the treasury? Um,
Yeah,
I feel like it'd be going to the treasury, but we don't have enough information for that right now.
yeah, it's crazy to think. How cool would that be if some of the community proposals for use of the community treasury would be to, create some merch and maybe even hire somebody specifically from the community treasury to do some of those things and offer things from the community treasury for sale. So there's so many things that can happen in this space. We're so absolutely new. It's just going to be so fascinating to see how all this develops. A couple of tweets from Jiho talking about the NFT NYC. Let's win every award we're nominated for. And hopefully everybody's gotten out onto Twitter and had a chance to vote. Those are pretty important things. We definitely want Axie Infinity to win every possible category that they're selected for. So please be sure to get out and vote. I think with the community we have, there's no reason Axie Infinity shouldn't win every single one of those categories, especially if it's based on popular vote. Most of them, I think I saw we were winning by like 90% or more on the polling data. So hopefully that stays.
Right. And just for those of you listening again, to fill people in, that that is an NFT NYC vote for, I mean, there's a couple different things. It's like best NFT game, it's best NFT like overarching company, it's most creative use of NFTs or something like that. And I mean, so far Axie is just dominating. I think last I checked, it was like 90% of most of the ones where we were included. But there were some that were like, it was most unique, like most unique NFT with like utility or something like that. And it was CryptoPunks and
Yeah,
Bored
yeah.
Ape Yacht Club, and like it was stuff that has zero. I mean, maybe not zero utility. That's a little harsh, but utility isn't the backbone of the project.
Certainly
Um,
not punks,
so
but
that was kind of funny. I'm wondering
yeah,
who's putting these things together. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. For sure. And then Cloud White, just a shout out to you, man. Yeah, everybody keep your eye out for Cloud White at NFT NYC. I'm sure he'll be
he'll
making a
he'll
splash.
be he'll be the guy with Coke
Yeah, yeah. Yep, he will be the
doing
guy.
bumps of Coke.
Well, at least wearing it on his shirt, right?
Oh, I was talking like chest bumps.
Yeah, I got you. Yep, I got you. I get you. Yeah, Cloud, man, awesome, excited. I know that he's on the list of speakers actually for, I think, a Thursday time slot. So good one to check out the agenda, see what's available there. It looked like there was some great stuff on Thursday. I think Jiho actually was slated for Thursday as well.
Yeah. Yep. Thursday is packed right now. Again, I'm not going, but I'm like I wish I was. So I'm staying abreast of all the issues right now. Like I'm keeping track of what's going on when. I'm hoping some of this will be streamed live. Like I would like to be there in spirit and watch and see what's going on. But we'll see. We'll see what's happening.
Yeah. So lots of cool stuff happening as far as projects. It was cool to see that Axie is doing kind of a collab with Lynn. Uh, let's see. Did that already happen yesterday? I didn't get a chance to see it. Did you? Did you tune in?
I missed it. I didn't even know. I don't even know what it was. Do you have any background for it?
No, I just saw it was listed. I wanted to watch it. I haven't been moving like you have been, but my yesterday was pretty busy, so I didn't get a chance to snag it. And I didn't know time frame, 12 p.m. where as well. So, but I did catch it. I mean, I did catch the announcement of it. It looked pretty cool. Also, community gaming is hitting it hard. They've been pushing a lot of things on Axie for Axie as well. Um, did you get a chance to check out that little tweet?
Yeah, I saw the tweet again. I didn't delve too deeply. There's been
So
so
much,
much
man.
going on this week. It's so, again, between these events um I mean there's still a lot we got to cover here. So I'll keep my expertise on to the side for a moment.
Yeah. Okay. Which side? Are you
Okay.
talking about the right side of this slide? So X912 had this cosplay done by Ian Mercado. Incredible job. This is
Amazing.
a rendering of the Mystic Axie art Misaki. I should have actually put that art up because it's so well done. It is very, very, very similar to the actual art piece. Yeah, I should have put that up, but pretty cool
Yeah.
stuff. And I don't know a ton about Ian. Do you? I guess pretty well known, right?
Yeah, I mean there's been some streamers in the space who are trying to shoot their shot right now. Definitely well known in the cosplay space, and poking into the Axie Infinity space as well. I'm more curious about Misaki right now. Like, so in the past, like Coke was the kind of the famous
Mm,
Axie, right? We had a couple of famous Mystic Axies. We had Coke, who just kind of came out of nowhere due to Cloud White's pushing. But now Misaki, like I feel like is rising up the leaderboard. There's a ton of art of her. We've got now these cosplays. Like, is Misaki now the one of the most famous Axies? I think we're getting close.
yeah, yeah. X912 is doing a great job with Misaki. It makes me wonder what we're doing with our mystics, man. We're not definitely not getting things like this done. So, all right. Oh, okay. So yeah, Jiho's
Oh,
been on a tear, my man.
for sure.
He and I don't even know for sure what to think about it. I mean, some of it is necessary for some of the stuff that's coming up. The TikTok dance, talking about decks and Battles 2, Season 19. Just right before we got started, talked about that there's going to be an Axie rally in NYC on the 4th of November. He's getting more information out to us. One of the cool things, and right before that, Dave versus Axie, who's here in the chat as well, announced that he's officially booking a venue for the 2nd of November that's going to be an Axie Infinity meetup as well. So it looks like there's going to be great things to do if you're going out to New York for the NYC NFT. I always flip that around, NFT NYC. So is Jiho? I mean, he is the master edger. He just teases us over and over with information. Is it happening? Is something coming soon? Are they going to pull the after Axie Chat release thing, or do you think it's going to be more
The
like
Axie Chat special. Um, it's tough, right? Because his job is kind of twofold. It's one, to disseminate information, and two, to kind of get people hyped up, or into farm engagement, really. Um, and he has had a lot of tweets about what's coming up, the decks, Battles V2, Season 19, as you've gotten that tweet there. Um, and then he's also kind of, this week he started delving into concept art from 2018, this concept of branching axes, or branching evolutions, the upgrade process, where, like, hey, if your axie has a certain part, it could either go one of two ways, right? You get to pick.
branching
um,
evolution?
and exactly, yeah. So we've had a lot of conversations about that in the past, about what that means for scarcity, what that means for breeding, and it could get really interesting, right? If each part technically has two branches, and then each one of those parts has two branches, like each of these parts becomes way more scarce over time, and it becomes kind of a longer process for people to figure out, what the ideal metas are. Like, are you going to upgrade this part at all? Are you going to upgrade it this way or this way? And then, are you going to do it again? And I think it's really interesting that he's bringing that back right now, right before we're like kind of scheduled to go into Battles V2, um,
Yeah.
because we know that Battles V2 has evolution mechanics, or at least that's what we've been told. So, are they kind of going back to the drawing board or revisiting what they've told us in the past, or are they just getting us ready for what's to come? So super interesting.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that more in a minute, but one of the things I wanted to hit on this slide is just the absolute amazing level of sales that's held on Ronin. So
Yeah.
here on the slide, for people who aren't able to see it, Ethereum is showing in this chart that Jiho posted 8 million in sales, and I don't have the time frame that this was over. Let's see, 2.5, almost 2.6 million in sales for Ronin. So it's got to be a pretty. Oh wait, that's billion. 8 billion in sales for Ethereum. Maybe this is all time. This must be all time.
I think it's all time.
Yeah, 2.5 billion with a B, baronar B, on Ronin. Incredible amounts. And then the even closest one next to that's on Flow, which is 755 million, and then Solana at 481 million ish. So second all time in terms of total sales on a chain. That is incredible. How long? Because how long has it taken Ethereum to get to 8 billion, and how quickly did Axie Infinity get to 2.5 billion? And what happens? What happens next, man? That's why I started this one out with when next. It's interesting. We're in an interesting time right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about what this chart actually represents, because it's talking about, in this chart, Ronin has more buyers than Ethereum. So what is buyers? Is that for NFTs? Is that for transactions? Ronin has more than twice, or about twice as many transactions. So is that NFTs on Ethereum versus Ronin?
So what's Flow? I don't
we
even
kind
know
of
Flow.
Flow is
that so
NBA
rare?
Top Shot.
Oh, Top Shot. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So yeah.
But so we're about double for both buyers, transactions, and sellers as the Ethereum chain in general. Which no matter what the metric is, what this is actually based around, they're huge numbers, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just shows where we've been, and I think where we're headed is that we're going to eclipse even the Ethereum chain here quite soon. This was a fun little community challenge that took place. This budget team challenge. This has happened before. I know Elijah's done it. Others have done it before in the past. Indus has. So this started. Is it Kairu? I've never known if I've said it right or not this whole time.
I'm going to let you screw that one.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
Sounds good to me, though.
Yeah, I think Kairu sounds good, so we'll go with that.
Can you roll that R a little bit more?
Kairu. You're welcome.
Perfect.
So the idea was to try to get as good a team as you could, kind of under this 0.164-ish Ethereum cost, and then see how quick, how far you could go with 100 games. And pretty impressive stuff. People are doing absolutely incredible with these quote-unquote budget teams. Indus was able to get to 2K in less than 24 hours, and I'm showing the teams here on the slides. If you're able to watch the replay, if you're listening, like, these are teams that are, budget
They're
teams.
Floor teams.
They're floor teams.
They're not great teams.
Yeah.
It's not type match parts a lot of the time. I mean, some of them are.
They're not your meta
match.
Yep.
Yeah. And the important thing here is, I think, we hear a lot of people, especially after some of the recent changes, talking about how, man, I'm stuck with floor teams. My manager's not giving me anything better. And I there's no way I can stay above 800 MMR. And I think that this is really cool. Like if your manager is kind of, forcing you to stick with a bad team, like here's the difference between these teams and something that somebody might give you. Although I don't think it's any manager's like goal to give you bad Axies to play with. But these are all very, very good long-term players who know what they're looking for and they know how parts work together. So they're able to pick out good floor axes that have some sort of, they're able to kind of work together. But at the same time, they were each able to get over 2,000 MMR in 24 hours. 24 hours
Yeah,
with
incredible.
these cheap axes, and it's just important to say that, like, guys, it's not helpless. Even if you don't have a lot of money to get started, like, you can still have a great team. Get involved in the community, ask people for help picking these things out. But I mean, you can do incredible with not a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not a lot. It still is a significant investment. But on the other hand, if you're getting that, like I did this and I haven't completely finished it yet, I haven't had time, but that's part of the reason I was so busy yesterday was messing around with one of these teams. And, I think I ended up going like 20-8, 20 wins, 8 losses. I ended up with 87 SLP from the 20 energy that I had on the account. And, it was a fun experience. I felt like I did pretty good too, which is interesting too, because we see these different types of teams. I really like that. Someone made a comment in my stream when I was doing that about how it's neat to see some people are doing like the bird, beast, plant. AK did a triple aqua. I did, I did a tank. So I did a plant, aqua, and reptile because I really like reptile backliners. So you can do it in multiple ways. You just have to really study and really know the parts, and it can happen. So cool challenge. It's totally doable. It's not required that you spend a half an Ethereum on your team. In fact, if you're spending more than probably 0.25 right now, I just kind of wonder if you're making a good investment, to be honest. Maybe your time would be better invested in learning the parts, watching streams, seeing how people are playing, and trying to figure out better combinations of axes to use.
And if your name's baronar, you're still going to struggle.
Well, I don't count energy. I don't pay attention to the card amounts. I don't play like a pro player. So, but the great thing is I still managed at least a 2/3 or more win rate. Bare Florinar. So, I mean, even me, not a pro player, I was able to quite easily maintain 1,400, 1,500 MMR. So, hey, things are still looking extremely hot as far as the economy. Jiho, I think, is super busy, so he updated the figures that we see at the top of this slide, which are daily active users and then a 30-day volume number, and also wallets. And what we see is almost 2.3 million, and this was last Monday. This was not from yesterday. 2.3 million wallets, and it's 2.274 million daily active users. So that still is about, I mean, it's a significant amount of growth, especially on the total wallets number. So we're still gaining between 50 and 100,000 new users every week. I don't know what I don't know what yesterday's numbers are because those weren't published, but it's still trending in the right direction. Again, that is incredible growth if you think about it week on week. And if we're able to continue to have this sort of growth, just think when something big hits, when we do get that DEX, when we get breeding changes, when we get V2, dare I say V2 battles, and everything that comes along with that. It feels like we're on the cusp of another round of explosive growth fairly soon. But it is awful nice to have this good, consistent kind of moving along. I mean, it's actually still launching ahead. It's so funny that we talk about 50,000 new users or 100,000 new users as just kind of plodding along, but we got kind of spoiled with gigantic growth. But I think it's just a
Right.
matter of time, and we see it again. But the total volume on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and over the last 30 days is still profound. Just on a daily basis, we're averaging 17 million in total volume in the marketplace. That's just absolutely incredible. There have been some great land sales that have been taking place too. It looks like the land market has been a little bit more active. And it really makes sense because we're seeing this stable income coming from Axis. And I
Yep.
think a lot of people are reinvesting some of their gains into more Axie assets, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of maybe doesn't surprise me the most, but keeps me excited about the screen is that total volume has stayed at that 17 million range for the last several months, and even when Axie prices, that floor Axie price, it's kind of you know fell what it was probably closer to you know zero point 0.12 ETH, and now it's 0.03, 0.04 area.
Yep, yep.
So it's kind of cut down dramatically, but we're still at $17 million daily volume. Like that's still a lot of money going into the treasury. 4.5% of that. So even the numbers backing um, the price of Axis in general, it's still growing. The whole thing's growing, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So many different ways to engage in the Axie Infinity universe for revenue, for growth. And again, what's incredible is you purchase a team like we were talking about, and you really hit it, and you hit it hard, and you do it intelligently. You follow some of the guides to get your adventure returns up and to do well in PvP. And you're going to end up in a situation where you can recoup your investment within months. It's not years. It's months. It happens relatively quickly, and that's just phenomenal. And it's a game, man. It's so cool. You know, the more I've been reading about this idea that it's going to be games that lead people into the you know decentralized or blockchain space, I'm totally getting it. It's incredible. I've been reading several articles that can't deny Axie Infinity any longer. Like they're big time news, and they're talking about how are people going to come and get involved in the blockchain space. This is partially because Bitcoin's on the rise, Ethereum's on the rise, but the amount of people that have wallets, the amount of people that have any form of cryptocurrency wallets is increased by, I can't remember what the total number is, but like half of the total people who have cryptocurrency wallets are, guess what? Axie Infinity wallets. It's absolutely incredible. And
Right.
these are people who may not even have a bank account, but now they have a cryptocurrency wallet.
That's a good point actually. Because that's another update we're waiting on. We're waiting on a mobile Ronin wallet, which is I think it's gonna change the game for a lot of this. A lot of our current player base does not have a computer they can log into a Ronin wallet with. So that's gonna be a huge one, I think, and I'm expecting it pretty quickly.
I really hope so because I know there's a lot of people who are using the Kiwi solution, and I don't know that it's as secure as we would like it to be. So, okay. Again, we've got all these things on the roadmap. It still feels like the one thing that needs to happen as soon as possible is the DEX.
Yeah.
It just we in the past we talked about how Ronin was the key to really have things fire off with respect to adoption, getting people involved in Axie Infinity, and it ended up being right. It was kind of holding things back. Right now, I would say having to bridge back and forth from main chain. I know Binance has a little bit better solution, but not everybody has Binance. Having to do that bridge of going back and forth in order to exchange tokens is tough and it's brutal. And today I bridged some assets and it was like $120 in fees to do it. that's just ridiculous, man.
Do you think that having a DEX on Ronin, more mainstream, just Ethereum traders will start bridging over to save fees? I don't know if that really makes sense, but if you're just a day trader and looking for opportunities to kind of, I don't know, just eke out profits between, hey, this coin's up today, this coin's down, tomorrow. Do you think people start coming and playing in the Ronin sandbox?
I mean, why wouldn't they? There's good cycles with SLP and Axis, assuming there's some sort of stable coin that's going to be on the DEX as well. And then you also have Ronin, Ethereum, so you already have several pairs. Yeah, I can see it happening for sure. I don't know how robust the exchange is. Like if we're talking futures and crap like that, I'm kind of hoping not. But yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on some of those things probably. I know a lot of those day traders like to do more exotic types of trades and moves as far as the trading goes. But I can't see why you wouldn't. Ethereum's Ethereum, you know. There's a fee though to bridge it when you want to finally get out. But yeah, I mean, Snorlax, that's right. I mean, eventually we're going to have all these other utility tokens, and so it could be dozens of tokens that are going to have exchange rates, and you never know who's going to drop what blueprints or what release, allows a certain subset of items or upgrades to structures or whatnot, and then there's going to be a demand for a certain type of shell or something like that. And so there are going to be great opportunities. I would imagine it will be extremely robust in that sense as far as day trading. All right. So the treasury, not too much happening there. Just kidding. With with Ethereum and Axis prices doing well right now, just the Axis portion alone is 2.5 billion. Add another 170 million for the Ethereum from the marketplace fees, and we're edging closer and closer to a total of 3 billion held in the community treasury. We've talked about the great rewards that are coming from the original allocation distribution schedule for Axis. The thing about the treasury is, so it drops down in January from being 2 million a month to being, what is it, 1.6 million, right? In the total rewards. How hard is it to kick in 400,000 Axis to shore that back up to 2 million, having that come from the community treasury? It's incredibly easy. So if you wanted to do that for 12 months, I mean, that's 4.8 million of Axis. I mean, it's a significant amount because there's 19.4 million Axis that's held in there. But if you have a way of having Axis cycle back into the treasury, that could be something that could be done for the following year just to shore up the rewards and keep them even for the next year. I don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes, but it's an interesting idea. The community treasury was intended to have certain portions of it return back to the Axis holders, and that seems like a really nice way to keep kind of a good known amount of returns for people who are staking Axis.
And that's actually how it works in the initial Delphi spreadsheet, breaking the whole thing down. Like the goal is to reduce the amount of Axis coming from just the distribution and replace it with treasury Axis, or replace it with the money, the tokens being held in the treasury. So I think that's perfectly reasonable to expect. The question is how much we're going to get. There have been some conversations about 5% of the treasury being released to Axis holders every week. So you can do some math there and try and figure that out. But again, we're expecting some pretty major releases over the next 3 months or so. Dex could very well change this whole formula and add a bunch of money into the treasury. It also could add a whole lot more players. So I mean, yeah, by the time we get to January, we could be looking at a completely different numbers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it even is higher than the current distribution. I don't know. It'll be really, really interesting to see. the treasury continues to grow, which is also fascinating too. We'll talk about that on the exclusive a little bit more, to be honest. So you mentioned this. We actually kind of got it talking about it. This next slide makes me kind of sad, but it's all good. So my That's Random slide is all about Jiho's tweets about the 2018 information about branching evolution. And
Yep.
we know that this is something they've thought about, something that's been in the works for a long, long time. It seems pretty clear, based on every single release of information about version 2, that there are upgrades that are planned. Is it going to be this branching evolution? Is it going to be some other method that they're going to introduce upgrades? I don't know, but it seems like branching evolutions it's still kind of the idea of how things are going to go forward. And one thing I've always been interested in with this artwork is, do you choose to do the upgrade and then it's a chance roll to decide whether you go like one path or the other path?
Yep.
Or is that what you're thinking? Is that how you see it moving
I
forward?
mean, if you look at this art, there is definitely differentiation between the different paths. Like some of the parts do not turn into like they branch off to another part, like another second evolution of a part that we're already familiar with. So I don't know if this is just a proof of concept sort of thing, just a drawing to. Again, this is from 2018. This is super early in the process, but I'm not sure if they're just trying to show us what it could look like, or if this is the actual mechanic. But it's very possible there's some sort of role, or maybe if we're really getting um, where we're really trying to figure out where they're going, it's very possible that part of the evolution you have to sacrifice one of your current axes, and it takes parts from both axes. And that would help solve some of the SLP problem going on right now too, with a sort of axis sync. So, pure speculation, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would be interesting if releasing axes is in the mix of part of this. It would be a huge SOP sync for sure. Yeah, so the one thing that I did notice from his tweet that kind of blew my mind was that he specifically mentions this means the utility of your axes might change drastically over time, especially as we head
Mm-hmm.
into V2. So, fascinating thing to me about that is, they've talked about how they want axes to be special. That hasn't been discussed quite as directly recently, but they do. They want particular axes to be special, and if you can upgrade those parts and maybe have some ability to direct the upgrade parts, suddenly you can kind of customize your axes, and maybe your axes do become a little bit more special, a little bit more specific, customized to you. And that might be a
Right.
huge thing moving forward. And actually, it might make it easier for people to feel confident in their investment when they acquire some axes too, because maybe they're not just stuck forever with what those parts are.
Yeah, I think that there still would have to be some random chance. Otherwise, everybody ends up with the same axes again. Um, but you're 100% right. Like if you buy an Axie that right now is a floor Axie and maybe sucks at the current meta, there's still a hope that you can evolve it into something that's beneficial. So even people that are buying stuff right now that is low on the floor and doesn't really have a huge use case, you're right. He has said that these things all should be usable. And we've kind of speculated that that might mean, with different game modes, with, land gameplay or V2, where, supposedly they're going to keep V1 around as well, versus, stuff that people build with the SDK. Like, there's a lot of different game types that different axes could be good at. But I think you're right. Once branching comes around, you do have a lot more hope as to what the future of that Axie could potentially be. And we could see a lot of really cool, interesting combinations come out of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's got me really excited as far as the future of V2 and how that goes down. I'm not going to get super specific about this, but there was a kind of big ban, and many people know about the person and that it was banned. And so, I don't want to overly emphasize it too much, but uh, maybe some information out there that we thought might be leaked. Uh, it might be worth taking another look. I guess I'll leave it at that. But if some of those things indicate potential abilities to upgrade parts, or I mean, there were a lot of things to look at. So maybe take another look. Go back to our last episode and
Yep.
check out parts of it. And yeah, I'll leave it kind of at that. I don't like getting overly specific.
Yeah, this is purely a respect thing. We don't want to call people out. But yeah, like Baronar said, he's referencing something that we discussed pretty heavily in our last episode, and I think you guys can piece things together.
Yep, connect the dots.
Exactly.
Hey, so we've kind of talked about this whole episode, but the Between the Shrubs that you
What's
proposed is,
coming?
what leaks or releases are the team most likely to reveal at NFT NYC next week?
What's coming? What are you
Yeah,
expecting? Are we gonna get nothing again, or some more fondling?
man, I'm having a hard time knowing because you know who else going to be at NYT NFC yeah, NFT NYC. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to get a Ziori and we're going to get a Jiho. Um, do we get anybody else from the team, do you think?
I don't know. I know that the U.S. still has some travel restrictions, so there's questions about other members of the community coming. I've heard. So it'd be tough for me to believe like an Alex or a Trung or somebody like that would come out or would be able to come out necessarily without a lot of pre-planning. Um,
So my point on that is the
yeah.
main team that is involved with actual development and releases, they're all still going to be in the office working. Um, I have a feeling things will be released. I I really don't think that you're going to be mad at me maybe, but I really don't think that we're very close on V2. I don't think we're close to having something like that released. Um, Dex, yeah, Ronin and or the Ron token. Do they need to give us the tokenomics for Ron before the Dex gets released? Is that something that's important, or do they just release it all at the same time? What do you think about that? I mean, to me, it kind of seems like we ought to get the tokenomics sheet for Ron before it just gets introduced and
Yeah,
released.
I think they could drop it all at once. It's not something, as far as we know, that they'll um, that they're actually going to have a sale for or anything like that. It'll be a you have to stake or provide liquidity, and you get some. Um, my question with the Dex and with Ron token is, I don't know that really has a whole lot to do with NFTs. It has to do with this NFT based company,
Yeah.
but it's more DeFi based. And so my question is, I mean, I'd be happy with that too, but if you're going to an NFT conference, how are you going to wow the socks off of people who haven't been swayed into the Axie ecosystem yet?
Land.
Um, I mean that would make a lot of people happy, create a lot of buzz, I'm sure. But I don't think any of us expect that to be that close either.
Right. No, no, certainly not. Although everything's been very, very silent on the land front, to be honest, for quite some time. I mean, aren't we coming up? Or I have to check and see
Almost
when.
on a year,
Yeah,
huh?
Project K, right?
It
Has
was
it
was
been a
that
year?
December? Was that December of last year?
I'm gonna have to look and see when that was for sure. Um, I'm kind of thinking season 19. But that requires that they get the Axie Battles upgrades done for the application, right? And it still hasn't happened yet. So I also
Right.
think, I mean, breeding event possible, with maybe a breeding cost change. Maybe reduction
I
of
don't
the
know, man.
axis portion.
I've played false oracle enough times in the last month or so. Like I'm tired of getting these wrong, so I'm ready to just see what happens. And I mean, you can't really get too excited. Like you can't. I don't think you can expect anything's going to come out. But I know that we're on the cusp of a lot of releases right now, so we're hoping. We're hoping.
Yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be a flurry of releases. We did get staking, but that's what we got, right? I mean, there weren't a ton of additional releases surrounding that, so it definitely feels huge and it feels very, very important. But I wouldn't call it a flurry yet. Do we get decks before the end of this month?
I feel like he's alluded to it happening this month. And the other piece of this that we're neglecting is that they don't necessarily need to release something at NFT NYC.
No.
They could release it this week. They could release something tomorrow, and the buzz would carry through.
Yeah.
It would give something for the community to band together and talk about, and it would still create a buzz. So that's a possibility too. Again,
So
I'm not
Odin
making any
tells
more
us
guesses.
that the Dex is either tomorrow. So he's going with the post Axie Chat, or 8 days from now. So after the next Axie Chat, which would be the NFT NYC Axie Chat, which will be interesting to see how that goes. So yeah, I think the team's gonna have great information to share there, and I think the only one that's speaking though is Jeff, I believe. I don't think anybody else from the team is slated to speak. So
Right.
It's going to be really, really interesting to hear what Jeff has to say.
I mean, they've got a whole rally in Brooklyn, right? Wasn't that what was announced today? Is Jeff going to be standing up in the middle of 100, 1,000 people on a soapbox, shouting his beliefs in a decentralized Lunacia?
I hope so. That just sounds so amazing. Really, really hope that that's how it goes.
The world is not prepared for what we are bringing. The world needs decentralized work. Like, I don't know. I'm just sensing this giant like MLK sort of
Wow,
speech
dude.
from him.
Wow, dude. But it'll start out with yeah. So yeah, that's usually how Jeff's yeah. Yeah. Man, this has been fun. Digital Nation
Are we done
Rising.
already?
It's
Oh,
time,
man.
man. It's crazy. The time flies.
9:15.
The time flies. But hey, oh, how did that one sneak in there? Wow. Hey, just
that's baronars before bed materials, guys. Everybody avert your eyes.
Hey, I just want to remind everybody, if the public stream is not enough for you, and we love that everybody shows up and listens to us, thank you so much for your support and hanging out with us. We do the All Access Pass as well, and that becomes kind of an after party, a good time for us to discuss some more in-depth information and kind of share thoughts and ideas as an Axie Chat group. So just want to remind everybody there are still some All Access Passes left for this quarter. And we're a month in. We always shut that down basically in the middle of the quarter, so we're getting closer to the time where we're going to stop selling those passes as well. So
keep them limited.
Yep.
Did you just say after party? Because I think last week it was almost an all-night party.
Yeah, you and I signed off.
We went to bed. It was a long day for us, but apparently the rest of the Axie Chat community kept the conversation going for 6 hours. So
if you really want,
again, guys,
yeah,
it's a good time, and again, it's just the continuation of what we do here, a little bit more in depth and a little bit more topical. Obviously
Beautiful.
No pressure, but it is fun.
Yeah, we do. We have a great time. So if you want to join the party, that's your ticket to do so. I think we're still OP October. I really do think we're going to get the decks before the end of this month, but I guess we'll find out. We'll find out if that's if we get it by Halloween's night, or if it crosses over. But I'm confident we're going to get the decks fairly soon. I am excited to see if Jiho's right, that the Dex has an impact on the level of the Axie migration to Ronin. If that's the case, man, everybody better just freaking buckle up, because it's going to be an incredible, incredible ride. All right, man. Hey, it's been a good time. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Everybody.
Awesome, guys. Have a great night in Lunacia.
Axie hard, everyone. Take care.
Axie hard. Take care, guys.